Hello, here is Dr. Abbas Vattoli, Assistant Professor, Amal College of Advanced Studies, Nilambur. Today's our topic of discussion is essential elements of a valid contract. In terms of Section 10 of the Act, all agreements are contracts if they are made by the free consent of the parties competent to contract for a lawful consideration and with a lawful object, and are not expressly declared to be void. So this is the legal conditions to make a contract valid. So let's discuss these points in detail. First, essential element of a valid contract is offer an acceptance or an agreement. An agreement is the first essential element of a valid contract. According to Section 2, subsection E of the Indian Contract Act 1872, every promise and every set of promises forming consideration for each other is an agreement. And according to Section 2B, a proposal, when accepted, becomes a promise. An agreement is an outcome of offer and acceptance. So this is the first condition. There must be an offer, there must be an acceptance to call it as a valid contract. The second element is free consent. Two or more persons are said to consent when they agree upon the same thing in the same sense. This can also be understood as identity of minds in understanding the terms with consensus added here. Further, such a consent must be free. Consent would be considered as free consent if it is not caused by coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, or mistake. So, the second important condition for becoming a contract as valid is the free consent of the parties. The consent must be free and not forced. Then capacity of the parties. Capacity to contract means the legal ability of a person to enter into a valid contract. Section 11 of the Indian Contract Act specifies that every person is competent to contract who is of age of majority according to the law to which he is subject, and is of sound mind, and is not otherwise disqualified from contracting by any law to which he is subject. So third condition is capacity to contract. That means the parties involved in a contract should have the legal capacity or competency to enter into a contract. Like he should be a major, that means attained the age of 18. He should have a sound mind, that means not a lunacy or infirm, etc. And he is not disqualified by the court of law. And the next point is consideration. It is referred to as quid pro quo, that is something in return. A valuable consideration in the sense of law may consist either in some right, interest, profit, or benefit accruing to one party, or some forbearance, determine loss or responsibility given, suffered, or undertaken by the other. That means a contract to be valid, there must be a consideration or something in return. A performs something and B gives something in return for that. Just like there must be a valid consideration. The next point is lawful consideration and object. The consideration and object of the agreement must be lawful. Section 23 states that consideration or object is not lawful if it is prohibited by law, or it is such as would defeat the provisions of law. If it is fraudulent or involves injury to the person or property of another, or court regards it as immoral or opposed to the public policy. Again, a contract to be valid, there must be lawful consideration and objects. That means the object or agreement in the contract must be lawful. It should not be to kill somebody else. It should not be to what we say, burglary of something, so it must be a legal act, and the consideration also must be legal. Then the last point is not expressly declared to be void. The agreement entered into must not be which the law declares be either illegal or void. An illegal agreement is an agreement expressly or implicitly prohibited by law. A void agreement is one without any legal effects. So the last point is that a contract should not be void. That means expressly declared to be void by the law. So these are the essential element of contract as mentioned in section 10 of Indian Contract Act 1872. This list is not inclusive, is not exhaustive, it is just inclusive. So we can include so many other conditions of a valid agreement that will be discussed in the next class. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.